there was a snowstorm. There was lots of stuff happening where we are, but I could not be more excited to crack a beer with you after driving over here. Welcome to this episode of Beers with Beauties.
Doesn't matter if you got Coors, Busch, Bud Light, or a local shop's IPA. All beers are welcome at Beers and Beauties, baby. Let's go.
I never thought that I would intro based off of the weather conditions outside. Mm-hmm. But she's slippery. Yeah. She's a slippery time. But I'm like, there's no way I'm missing this.
It's funny because it's slippery across this country right now.
She's slippery.
I was in Alberta this week for work. And I got up at 5 a.m. to drive from Lethbridge back to Calgary to get a plane. And I text Ash and said, she's slippery.
She's slippery out here.
I got home and she's slippery. And I almost had tears in my eyes because I couldn't get my snowboard to start. Got her going, just so you know. But
I'm happy.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I made it here too. And I do want to discuss something real quick, just about driving.
Sure.
Because that's what this podcast is about. Yeah. It's about driving.
Yeah.
Is when it snows or when it gets slippery, let's not all get crazy. Let's all just
calm
down. I had on the way here, just cruising below the speed limit because that is, you know, that's safe.
Yeah.
It's where we're at.
That'll get you here at least.
And I needed to make sure that I was here on time because you know that that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Buddy decides that he doesn't like the lane. He only likes driving in the shoulder.
Oh.
So you got semis, you got tractors, you've got people flying by this guy, swerving into the other lane. Mm-hmm. He's got his four ways on going 30 on the highway.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those times where you just want to pull them over and be like, hey,
don't be a dick.
This is actually so much more dangerous than just like cruising in the lane. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I know. Or when you get because we've got some drifty highways and the one lane, whatever way the wind is blowing, the lane that's full of the drifts.
That's right.
And the truck who thinks because they're in a truck that they can drive the speed limit in whatever lane they want, and they just smash into all those. Yeah. It's like I always say everyone just leaves their brain at home. It snows, they get in their car and they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave this here.
Yes, let's do that. And sorry for everybody that we just needed a quick rant sesh because this is like my therapy every week and I just absolutely love recording. But that was one thing for me getting here today. And I can't wait to talk about all the things that have been going on in the sports world. But I'm like, Let's team up. Let's team up. Let's work together. Yeah. Let's work together on this whole, like, it's not like it's the first time. Yeah. She ain't the first time it snowed in Winnipeg.
It's like everyone's shocked, eh? It's like, whoa, it's here again.
Yeah. What?
Every year she comes. Every year.
It came?
Yeah. It's, I do want you to tell me, I haven't even asked you yet, but I know you took sports on the road to glorious Thunder Bay, Ontario. Mm-hmm. How'd she go?
T-Bay was a good time. It was a quick time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was super quick. It was no time for legitimately anything. It was in and out 3 games as fast as it could be, but I'm happy we did it because we needed to play. December was a light month for us, but T-Bay's got some amazing hockey players. Holy man. And I was so impressed by them. And I was so impressed by their coaching staff. Like they really, well, first and foremost, we're appreciative for us coming. Yep. But because their ice is so sparse there. Like our games, I'm not even joking, we're back to back. We played at 9 p.m. and played at 8 a.m. the next morning.
Whoa.
Like I'm talking bingo bango. There was no time to do anything. It was essentially get into town, play a game, get the kids fed, go to bed, wake up, play a game, eat, go. Like it was crazy, but it was so.
Did you play 3 games or 2?
3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was back. Yeah. Like it was crazy. And it was fun. It was good for the girls to see that talent and stuff. And they, like, I love playing against teams that have set plays. Yeah. And you can see that they've done, like they had this one play and they they got us twice on it. And I was like, oh my God, fool me once, fool me twice, shame on me. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, they got us twice on it. But great people, great team.
Cool.
I would highly recommend anybody looking for games to head down to T-Bay. They were awesome.
Queens in the house. Very cool. I'm glad it was good. I wondered how it went. I didn't follow along. Did you lose? Did you win?
We lost 3. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost 3.
Not that it matters. You're not going there for dubs.
And it was like
Going there for experience.
That's right. And we needed those games to get our feet under us too. And they were unreal. Yeah. They're unreal.
So good.
And first game kind of expected. We were getting off the bus, right? Because everything was back to back. So we drove on the same day that we played.
Ooh, that's hard.
And then so we got into town like I'd say an hour
some
before we had to
jumping
the rink. We made them do a workout halfway.
Yeah, well,
and they were pissed. It was awesome. And so it was like bang, bang, bang. So
yeah, that's fun. And we don't get to it, geographically it is hard. Like not everyone can appreciate that because we are spread out. And Thunder Bay is in a hard part geography wise. Like it really is easier for them to go south into Minnesota. Like they're 2.5 hours from Duluth. Like it's easier for them to blast that way than it really is for them to come this direction, right? And you're coming through the Canadian Shield around lakes to get from T-Bay to here. So it's an isolated part of the world, but there's a ton of sports talents there. Like I remember in university, our ball teams and hockey teams had people from Thunder Bay. There's tons of talent, and so it's good to go and venture out and see. It's a nice drive, actually.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful drive. Yeah,
so it's cool.
How was Lethbridge? My favorite bars in Lethbridge. Oh no, it burnt down. Not burnt down. Closed. Maybe it did burn down. I don't know. It was called Ezzy's. It was attached to a hotel.
I don't know. I was in, this last couple of weeks for like just work travel. It was a bit of a blur. I was in and out really. Landed there Monday, plane delayed. Every plane I took in the last 2 weeks has been delayed.
Good.
Because of weather.
Always fun.
Yeah. So was delayed, supposed to leave Winnipeg at 9, left Winnipeg at 1:30 p.m. So got in there, made it in just in time for supper, and then did a whirlwind of meetings on the Tuesday and went out with the guys, and we did some bowling bingo as a little hurrah before the holidays, which was very fun. And then I got on a bird on Wednesday. Well, got up at 5 and drove back to Calgary and hopped a bird.
Let's go! What a trip! Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah, no, it was fun. It was a fun way to spend the last couple of weeks here before the holiday season.
That's awesome. And so we've got tons to talk about in the sports world. There's so many things that happened this past weekend: announcements, all-star showcases. But I did want to talk about your solo podcast before we move on, and just saying how much like for the people that I was not here, I had no idea what Cowie was going to do. I just knew that she was going to figure it out. And I appreciated it. I loved listening to it. And I loved how you looped it back around into the community of sport and what sports has taught you that transitions into your life. There was parts of it when I was listening to it, I was like, I don't know, like that's a very vulnerable story, and I didn't know if you wanted to do it, and you owned it, and it was awesome. And I think it resonates with a lot of people because everybody has their own struggles. Everybody goes through so many things in their life, and the one thing that constantly keeps people engaged, keeps people supporting, that we've both experienced is sports. And I think that was incredibly powerful, and just on the show, just wanted to say thank you for doing that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, no, it was an uncomfortable thing, but I am happy that we got to do it. I think, that has always kind of been, that's a little passion of mine, right? Is to make sure that we tell the stories, we tell the hard things. And that's why I love this podcast too, is that we get opportunities uniquely woven into sports talk.
Yeah.
That are that.
That's right.
And so it was weird. I was sitting here by myself, and it's weird to tell a story to nobody, and you feel like you don't know where to look, and it was awkward, but I had some, so I appreciate everybody who listened to it and sent some feedback. It was well received, which makes my heart very happy because I was nervous about it because it is a far cry from what we put out in the world on a weekly basis, and tried to tie it back to sports too. And so, yeah, I think I look forward to, I think there's lots more of those kind of stories too. And I think it's important for people to get to know who we are. And so that was a fun opportunity. Really landed on that because honestly, I didn't have my shit together well enough to have a guest here. I didn't. There's things that like this is always a priority, but a really good friend of mine had her birthday that weekend, and that was a priority for me to shut off things and go and be present and enjoy that time. And then coming back here, and I had a friend, we were going to the Jets game, so I had this kind of 2-hour gap of like, okay, well, now
let's get her done.
Now's the time. And I just think, it was, I appreciate that people were receptive to it because it's different.
Yeah. So. No, I think it was awesome. I think it was definitely a unique take, but I think it was powerful in the way that sports has been woven in who you are as a human, right? Like you have your health challenges aside, but still at the same token, it was always, how am I going to keep playing sports? And that's the thing when you're young of like, how do I keep playing sports? And I think that that's a really powerful message for young girls that are a lot of them are going through all their own stuff, right?
The same but different, right? And that's the whole thing. I think that's the part I hope that people will resonate in some way because I know not everyone listening has a colitis story. That's what I'm suggesting, but everyone has a struggle, a thing, a hill to climb, right? And that's the message is that whatever it is that's in front of you, you continue to pursue it because it brings so much joy and so much love and all of those other good parts to it too. So yeah, it was fun, but it is nice to talk to a human.
I was just gonna
Glad you're back.
Because I was sympathizing with you in the sense of, because I remember when I was first starting to think of Beauties and I was talking as practice, talking, and I had released a few episodes that are now very much deleted in like 2 seconds because it is so hard. It's so hard talking to yourself. It's so hard. So to have the conversation back and forth with somebody, it's like when you don't have it, it's like I would do anything to have that back.
Yeah, it is. I've never been more grateful to like honestly have another voice because it is a daunting task to talk to yourself. Honestly, and the weirdest part was where to look.
Oh yeah. I'm
like, I'm just sitting around staring off into Never Neverland.
Reminiscing into a mic. Yeah, I know. And then I hear people in podcasts and they have only ever done it by themselves. I'm like, how?
Must be ultra edited.
How could you possibly do that?
The other part too, it's different when there's video because you're conscious of what you're saying to try and make it flow. And there was one cough attack that I had that was edited out. And the rest of that was a standard.
Let's roll.
Start to finish. If you didn't have video, I think it would be an easier world to have a solo podcast.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where you could say the things and be conscious of the fact that we're going to cut out the gaps and all of those stuff.
That's fair.
Much more difficult with video.
Yeah, that's fair. And for a lot of people that do ask, because we get to ask this question quite often, we rarely edit.
Oh yeah, no.
We just let her flow.
Unless there's usually it's like coughs.
Yeah, coughs or sneezes or whatever.
Or
yeah, when we're drinking
noises. Or if there's very rare times where sometimes we'd sound like idiots, so we just got
we're like that was no good.
You can tell actually if you watched the podcast on YouTube, you can very much tell that they are unedited because there is no distinguishable edits.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyways,
so are we wanting to, because there was the big PWHPA All-Star, there was the PHF salary cap increase. There's been lots going on. NCAA Division I volleyball.
Yeah.
Texas taking the win.
Yeah,
there
Longhorns.
are
What's their thing?
Yeah, toss the horns up, baby. Yeah. And it's sick. Like, I would do anything for a Texas jersey. They're just so like that burnt orange.
Like that. You're such an orange fan.
Yeah.
Always have been. But Yeah, that's funny that you say that.
Because like,
Nostalgia to me, maybe, but the color, not.
Oh, I just love it. And I love everybody wearing that orange and like big Texas. I love it. But then, because I was thinking about jerseys this weekend a lot because I was watching PHF and the Connecticut Whale were playing.
Okay.
And then in my head, I thought, what's better, the Montreal Force or the Connecticut Whale? And I landed on the Whale. They look sick.
Yeah, the old Hartford colors, eh?
Oh my God.
That does look sharp.
It looks really sharp. So good. So good. So PWHPA just finished up the All-Star showcase in Ottawa. Team Poulin, Team Knight, Team Nurse, Team Keller went toe-to-toe against one another, and it was unbelievable. And one of the coolest parts about this event, and I love seeing this, PWHPA skills clinics.
Yeah.
Boom. Sold out.
Yeah.
Boom. Sold out.
Yeah.
Then we skip on over to the other part that I love about this. Watch live. TSN, baby.
Yeah, they did a really, really good job.
Yeah,
so
man.
we've talked about in the past, they had like their normal showcase style games, and they had the all-star events, and they had 3v3. So yeah, I think they're 15-minute games, or were they 10? Anyway, either way, Team Keller ended up coming out on top of that whole shebang.
Champions, Team Keller.
Yeah, which was just so fun. The jerseys, I loved the social media that they did, where they sent the jerseys to the captains and they were putting them on, and yeah, man, it was just sick. But the one thing that stuck out the most to me about that whole skills thing was, so I thought Renata Fast was going to win fastest
Me
skater.
too.
She did not.
No.
Kendall Coyne Schofield, those legs are still boogieing.
Yeah.
Even though they've been around for a minute or two.
That's right.
When you compare that for context, so right now, Addie, go into the Google and type in NHL fastest skater. So Kendall Coyne Schofield did the lap in 13.82 seconds, I believe it was.
Yep.
Tell me what the fastest male skater was.
13.5.
Okay. So there's going to be people who think that gap would have been way, way the frick bigger.
Yeah.
Nada.
No chance. Let's say that one more time. 13.872 Kendall Coyne Schofield. And then
13.550, wasn't it, or something?
13.550.
Yeah.
And then Connor McDavid was 13.69.
Yeah. So let's put that in context.
Let's talk about it.
We're just going to call him the undeniably best player in the world right now, Connor McDavid. 13.69 seconds to do a lap around the rink. Kendall Coyne Schofield, 13.872. That is a 1/10 of a second different. Not even a full 10th. No, that's 2/10. Still, you can't blink that fast.
You can't. It's unbelievable, because you and I sat here and said the same thing. I think Renata Fast is taking it. Mm-hmm. I think she, like, undeniably one of the fastest skaters, and I thought that she was going to win this. Kendall Coyne Schofield, 13.8. You can't, but they should have them side by side. It blows my absolute
Renata Fast was,
mind.
I think she was 3/100 slower. She was like 13.9 something.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to put that out in the world for people, because there will be people that think, okay, 13.8 seconds is fast. If you think there is a difference between the athletes of the NHL and the PWHPA, let's put it into context of the fact that the fastest player in the PWHPA is 2/10 of a second slower than Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. I'm trying to find currently the shooting accuracy for the men, because I've got all the women here. So fastest skating.
The thing with the skills part is, and this accuracy shooting?
The shooting is the same. Yeah. So fastest skater, Kendall Coyne Schofield, was 13.8. Accuracy, Brianne Jenner, 10.6. And I'm pretty sure that's the fastest of all
Like it
of NHL and PWHPA. It will be the I'm pretty sure it's the fastest, but I'm just researching that now. So whatever. I just want to make sure that
it's not, it is right up there.
If it's not the fastest, it's top 5. If it's not the fastest, it's top 5.
There will be people like myself included that would have a hard time taking 4 shots in 10 seconds. Never mind taking 4 shots that hit the targets.
And she missed 1 or 2. I watched it. I think she hit all 4 in 10.6 seconds, and she didn't hit all in the first one.
She missed.
Is that funny? I can't even get 4 shots off in 10 seconds, let alone. I know. It's so funny.
Like 10 seconds is not a long time.
Oh no, it's absolutely incredible.
I know.
It's such high performing skill. It's ridiculous. And then for the skills challenge, we've got Marie-Philippe Poulin at 37.8, which was just an clinic. Was an absolute clinic. And then I can't say this. Anne-Renee Debian with 14 save streak, just absolutely crushed. Like, I'm so happy they did this.
Yeah.
Because people like us are talking about it.
Pure showcase of talent.
It's just, this is why people love the NHL All-Star game so much. It's for these things. If you put these women on the same board, NHL, PWHPA, baby, they're there.
Yeah, it's domino and man, woman, all the way down the board.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. So I'm so happy. Ottawa, like, what a cool place to do this. Like, it was very, very, very well done. And when you look, like, when you pull up Team Poulin, Knight, Nurse, and Keller, like, when you just sit back and look at the rosters, it's stupid.
And I'm just
how good it is.
Yeah. And I'm just such a, like, I have a hard time, if I'm being really, really honest, not having bias in women's hockey right now of the fact that there is so much talent in the PWHPA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when you have a year like this where it's not an Olympic year and it's all there, oh my God, it is. And that's what a league, like, let's put this in context. If we started out in a women's hockey league that was like an original 4 or an original 6, like the NHL started out, and the talent was this high, who wouldn't watch it?
Yeah.
The rivalry series that is going on. So these women are playing the PWHPA and then they're going back and they're playing against each other in their own country's jerseys. Canada finally won one.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez, they're down 3-0 and now they've taken in 1 game off the US.
Yeah, that's right.
But those games are selling out 14,000 fans.
Yeah.
The PWHPA absolutely 1,000% could sell out 14,000 fans if it had that level of talent all the time. Easy. It's crazy good.
It's crazy good. It's so good. So as the standings sit now, Harvey's, Adidas, Scotiabank, Sonnet. Harvey's and Adidas having 9 games. Scotiabank and Sonnet having 8. Harvey's have won 5 and lost 1. So they are leading the standings within the PWHPA showcases this year.
The other 4 games or 3 games. They tied them?
This is the overall standings.
I know, but they played 9, they won 5, they lost 1. What happened to the other 3?
Oh, OT win 3. Sorry. Okay. Didn't finish. Didn't finish going.
What?
Added up to 6.
Like, I know math is hard, but that math is easy.
That's hockey math. That's easy math.
That's stuff I know.
That's the only math I've ever done well in is hockey math until this point. Yeah, OT wins 3. So they're at 21 points. Adidas behind in 16. Scotiabank with 9 and Sonnet with 8. So they just announced showcases as well. Am I right?
Yeah, they did. They're going to Collingwood and somewhere else in Ontario for one, and then they're going back to Washington.
Back to Washington. Yeah, Collingwood, Ontario in 33 days. Yeah, it was wild because after this Ottawa one, then it was like the one they announced was like the next one was like in March. And then they did one in February and January because they teamed up with the OHL.
That's right.
So I'm like, holy moly.
Yeah, which how cool is that too?
Awesome.
They need to come
Awesome.
west. Like, when are you coming west?
Figure it out.
Everything
We want to
is
watch
very easterly.
Owen Sound and Collingwood.
Yeah.
And this is going to be incredibly ignorant of me. I've never even heard of Owen Sound.
Oh, I've heard of Owen Sound, but I've never heard of Collingwood.
Collingwood. So you've heard of one and I've heard of the other. Everybody knows Owen Sound. No one knows Collingwood.
On that same note, too, of the Ontario taking over the world, which just continues to be the thing. But I'm excited for the Worlds going to Brampton. Oh, that was announced, and that's fun to me.
And that's super fun.
I do like when international things are on our time, like, so we don't have to watch them that weird.
Yeah,
hours.
I agree.
Super selfish, but that's exciting. So I did ask Ashley this morning. I said, maybe in April, do you want to go to Brampton for a weekend? And she was like, I don't know, maybe. Hard to plan with her because
Is that April?
Yeah,
April?
April 5th, 5th to the 16th, I think.
Isn't April or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So you can't plan too far ahead because you can't plan to lose. That's just bad.
Can't be doing that.
So yeah, there's, but I do think that would be quite fun. And it's exciting that it's back on home turf for us. They always have such good turnouts when they're in Canada and the US.
So well supported. And it's like, even with other, like, obviously other countries want to host and stuff like that, but it's encouraging for other countries to come here and play in front of 15,000 people, 20,000 people. Like, why not? Like,
Agree.
it's a big deal. So yeah, I'm down. When they announced that, and U18s are in Sweden. Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah.
So much cool hockey things happening.
Oh yeah, PHF bouncing back there. They got news.
PHF coming in with a $1.5 million salary cap increase. So that's big news because
That's big news.
when you're looking at, because one of the biggest conversations is you got to get a real job. You got to go out, girls, and you got to get an education and you got to get a real job.
Yeah.
And it's like a job that makes $75K
Yeah.
is a real job.
Yep.
So that argument kind of pushes that argument away a little bit in the sense, and where we can now honestly say, like, you're fighting for a contract for money, for like livable money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, the only question I had with it is salary cap. I didn't read in the fine detail, but that doesn't include coaching and support staff, does it?
No, that's player salary.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because that's
per
why,
team.
Per team.
1.5
Right.
mil.
Because I'm like,
But I don't think they announced a minimum, did they? Because 75 would be if everyone split it equally, which we know will not be the case.
yeah. No, it
But
wouldn't.
it's like, so is it, are they going to set the minimum at, like, it still has to be livable. So what is that, 50? Don't know.
Right. I don't know. It's still, in my opinion, like,
It's a leaps and bounds ahead of where we were.
That's right.
So that's the main thing.
That's right. And there's so many positives to come off of it. The main one for me is the conversation shift. And Reagan Carey, the commish of the PW, or the sort of PHF, she did an interview on it saying, like, this is definitely going to be a push in the right direction. But the thing that I liked that she said was, this changes conversations around hockey. Like, a lot of people do like to talk about money. A lot of people do like to talk about salaries. Like, when you think about when guys are analyzing players in the NHL, a lot of it does come down to, would you take Nylander at $5 million a year or Marner for $7 million?
Yeah.
Like, people like talking about money.
Yeah.
So when we can talk about money with women, like, is Grant Mentes going to be still making $80,000 a year? Like, if we can,
going up, but
that's exactly right. So it's like, now there's more conversations, there's more storylines, there's more things to talk about when it comes to them, not just who's winning and who's losing. It's like, well, who's performing? Who's getting power play minutes? Who's getting PK minutes?
Yeah.
Should they be making that much money?
And then do they have bonuses? Like in the NHL, you've got bonuses based on performance, right?
That's right. If you make the playoffs, you get a
Certain
bonus.
points in a year, like
All-star games.
Yeah, it depends on who you are, what those parameters are. But it, you know, and the part that that does for me is makes me question. Like we've talked about in the past, that the PWHPA has a limited number of spots. Mm-hmm. And we had heard the rumblings in the past of that they were going to have this league and it was going to start in January and da-da-da-da.
Right.
That's obviously not real and they weren't ready or whatever the news is there. But it does make me not worry, but wonder when more women in the PWHPA, like, are they all steadfast enough in their will to want this to be sustainable in the way they want it to be sustainable? Or what is the dollar value for people to start to say, I'm out?
Interesting.
And how long do they have to wait?
Right.
Like if the PWHPA has more news internally that we don't know, which guaranteed they do, they do, because we don't know anything.
That's right.
We are 100% speculating and wondering.
That's right.
But, you know, like if the PWHPA is saying to their players, give us 2 years,
Yeah.
then do you stick around? Because you're on this path. You clearly have this same ethical, moral vision, whatever those things are, or this, you know, view of what this is going to be or supposed to be. Or is 1.5 million is the potential of $75,000 a year enough for you to say, thank you,
Yeah.
but I'm going to take care of me
Yeah.
and go and make $75K a year.
Yeah. That's right. And stick with it. And
I hope that doesn't happen.
I know there's so many, because this goes into the conversation of the NHL and the AHL. Like that's 100% where this conversation leads into is the PWHPA are women that have competed at such a high level consistently year after year after year against each other in the sense of like, do you know how hard that is? Do you think that like Poulin and Knight want to play each other again?
For the 80th time this calendar year?
Like,
my God.
It's the best rivalry in the entire world, but now they're probably like, let's get some more Poulins. Let's get some more Knighters. Let's go, right? Because at the end of the day, like, they're clearly all in it for the right reasons. They're all in it to grow this thing.
I know, but
it's like, there definitely has to be communication of like the vision, and that's why they stick with it, because, well, we have heard of girls going from the PWHPA to the PHF for whatever reason they may be, and you know, would be in the category of on the higher end of the salary, like with their background, without a doubt, 100%. So it's like we as fans, we have to always be pushing to continue the growth of it, but also seeing the bigger picture in all of this. At the end of the day, like in a 2-3 year time span, there being a quote unquote
pro league, actual pro league,
an actual
the best players
playing against each other consistently in an 82 game season.
I don't know if you can have 82 on a 16 thing, but yeah, I agree.
82 games. I want them all.
Going from fun showcases, trying to build it to 82
games. I don't want any in between.
We're talking about them getting sick of playing each other. Let's add more.
more.
Yeah, but I do, because you're right. It's like, I don't want to beat it up, because I do obviously believe that the PHF has a vision and a goal. But it's like, man, something's got to give, because there's still a gap. There's still, regardless of whoever comes out on the winning end of this pro league, there's still a gap between when you're 22 years old and graduate from college and when you're 35 years old, Kendall Coyne winning fastest skater.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if you're not ready to make it into a 6-team league, where do you go?
Yeah.
It's where one of them needs to
yeah,
and one of them needs to up higher.
Yeah. That's where if I were to predict the future, that's what it would be. The PWHPA would be the quote unquote NHL,
Right, yep.
and the PHF would be the AHL,
Agreed.
where you go from college to the A.
Yep.
Because I love the aspect of being able to be like, hey, you're now competing for your spot in the A, and now you're competing for your spot in the show. Just like boys here, just like all the guys here. Or if you get into
And
the
up
A,
and down injuries injuries in the PWHPA, which would be the
lights
NHL.
out.
You'd pull them out from-
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. The back and forth, the competing, and it's interesting because on the way we went to one of the girls I coach lives in Dryden, and they live in Chris Pronger's Bay.
Oh yeah.
So they grew, the dad grew up with Chris Pronger and Sean Pronger, and he gave me his book that he wrote, Sean Pronger. And it's all about his life up and down and up and down. Because Chris Pronger
Was a steadfast, lived there in the NHL.
and Olympic champion. Like,
yeah.
the whole resume is
It was
insane.
like the beginning, I feel like, of Tongues Out. Like those goofy floppy tongues.
I love it. That's your reference point of Chris Pronger.
He's just this big, he was a massive, massive man.
He was huge. He's a behemoth.
Yeah. And he had like always, I think he has a gap in his teeth maybe, but he had this goofy ass grin.
Yeah.
Maybe he was missing teeth too, could be. But I think he was like the start of floppy tongues out. That's like my memory of Chris Pronger.
Oh, I love that.
Floppy tongues.
I love that so much.
Anyways.
And well, it's funny because no one ever talks about his brother, who was also in the show, but danced around the A in the end, right? Yeah. And it's like that is a real reality for some guys. Yeah. They're bouncing up and down, and there was a funny comment that I read within it. It's like you go from steak and lobster one night to Burger King the next. And it's like you learn, and it's like that's the reality of pro sports when you get to a certain level. And it's like that would be amazing if that was to the point of women understood and knew, okay, college gets you here.
Yep.
Then you get to the A, quote unquote PHF. PHF would probably not be very happy that they're referencing us to the A, but it's like, let's get real. Yeah. Like, let's get real.
Yeah. Talent wise, that's what it is.
Talent, like, and it's no knock on the PHF.
No.
It's like, that is.
Look, I'm not even making the PHF, man. So.
Oh my God. It's
they're all incredible hockey players. And this is the part is that you need to be able to compete. You need to have the A to push the N, that quote unquote A, to push the quote unquote N to stay elite.
Yeah. 100%.
If you don't have the A, there's too big of a gap between college and pro that you need the talent that's in the A that can easily slide either way.
Yeah.
You need them to keep the caliber high.
And it's so interesting because it's like, I think about, okay, the PHF's probably like not happy about this conversation being quote unquote the A. It's like, this is not personal. We need to get over it. Get over it.
Okay, I agreed.
You are playing pro hockey. Yeah. Thousands of girls that played hockey would kill to be in the PHF. We have to stop taking it so personal and remember that we want this to be a business.
Yeah. And it can be if we fucking checked our ego at the door. Sorry.
I know. So it's like the personal aspect of this, sayonara. Let's start actually putting a plan in place to push the door. PHF, it doesn't mean that the league is not valuable. You are so valuable.
I agree.
And I'm going to watch as many PHF games as I possibly can. But quote unquote, the best girls playing hockey right now are in the PWHPA. Yeah. Signed, sealed, delivered. Yeah. It is not personal. It is for the growth of the game. And we are clearly passionate about that topic.
Yeah, I know. It's hard because
can't. It's like enough is enough.
I know. And okay. Then there's the twofold of the fact that enough is enough. And we need, I love the tie to the NHL that the PWHPA has. But then we just honestly, Leah Hextall and I talked about this too, is that her opinion is that the NHL will only back the PWHPA if the PHF goes away.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? That was their line, is that they said that we will back once there is one single viable option, that's who we'll back.
Isn't that interesting? And then Reg and Carrie on the other side of it saying they've got great relationships with the NHL.
Yeah, well,
It's like we're making it personal when it should not be personal.
yeah, and we need people to, the other part of that is too, we just need people to back it all. Just pick one.
Yeah.
So if that is happening, pick one, stand up and say it, and don't back off.
Yeah, that's
Don't
right.
support it when, it's an Olympic year and these people are like, don't pick it when it fits.
Yeah, that's
pick
right.
it because you believe that it can be an absolute fucking thing.
Yeah.
And ride it.
That's right. That's right.
Don't get off the bus when you think it gets a little hard. Like it's like, no, get on and support it because you actually believe that this can become a single viable pro hockey league and supporting system.
Yeah.
Period. Anyways, we don't need to rant anymore on that.
We went into it, but it's because it's a conversation that I think a lot of parents that listen to this show that have daughters that are in hockey would enjoy the fact that we are having this conversation, in my opinion, because it's like everybody's thinking it.
Oh.
Everybody. And I can't walk through a rink without somebody talking to me about this. They're like, PWHPA had a showcase. I'm like, damn right they did. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah. And it's like, well, you got to watch the PHF too.
But you know what the result of TSN, CBC making it visible? Way more conversations. You know how many people aren't talking about the PHF? No one talks about it because you can't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even in that regard, kudos to the people who are doing the work in the PWHPA because the accessibility of visibility that you're affording people is changing the way that people are looking at the future viability of a women's pro league.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can see it. So then we're going to rinks with U9, U13, U15, U18 girls, families who are thinking, holy, there may be an option. Because I watched women's sports on TV this weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
It matters. But like, that's the part is that we need consistent support. You can't have TSN do it for a one-off weekend. You can't have CBC. Like they need partners that are in it for the long haul because they believe that it can be. And they're going to support it from now until the end of whenever. Yeah,
absolutely. And as you're saying that with the constant support and understanding. So I'm looking up right now the NWSL attendance for this year because it was absolutely record breaking. So it's got it broken up like pretty, this is 1 year too late, sorry. So it's got the 2022 average attendance. Portland, the average attendance per game was 14,391.
Yeah.
Pretty much consistent all the way down the board in that range. Angel City, 19,105. Like on average per game. Like this is unbelievable. San Diego Wave in their inaugural season, 8,729. It's like
you don't have to look far to see that women's sports is supported and a viable option.
Because we always talk about all these things and we want them to grow. And at the end of the day, one of the coolest conversations about is the transition from youth athletics into quote unquote pro, which we need to start acknowledging as a business. Like these are for-profit, wanting to make money businesses as they should be, because the more money a club makes,
the more they can do. Like
Kansas City Current, for instance, gets a brand new stadium. They support their athletes. They go full tilty in it because people support and buy jerseys and buy scarves and buy t-shirts. These are businesses. And when we support with our money and our dollars and our eyeballs and watching, it grows. Like these are businesses. Women's sports is not personal.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like I've just been hearing that so much lately of like, oh, well, so-and-so this, so-and-so that. It's like sports, when you get to a certain level, is a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with all this other minor sports stuff. Like where you're still driving your kid to the rink and all that kind of stuff. Like that, it has nothing to do with any of that. Do you think the people that follow around Cristiano Ronaldo are wondering about his feelings? Like, he is a part of a club and his job is to show up and perform. Yeah. And when he does so, the club makes money. Yeah. I don't understand why this is such a big conversation when it comes to women.
And why we're so shocked. There's lots of parts I can rant on here too. Like the accessibility that women are not forced, but kind of by like culturally, societally forced to afford fans. You see it in the NWSL all the time.
Yeah.
We see it in the PWHPA. They're doing skills clinics. They're waiting and doing free autograph sessions. NWSL, they're interacting with their at WNBA, like the interaction that women are still affording their fan base is, if you thought, like, if you put that in context of men, there's no chance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine thinking that Connor McDavid is going to come and just show up at one of those click-out Costco tables in the main concourse and sign autos?
Yeah, no chance. And if he did, it would be everywhere.
Oh yeah, like
it would be
the
like
accessibility that they're having to afford their fans to try and build it across sports is it's just bizarre to me that people are so, well, of course they would. It's like, yeah, but it isn't. You're right. It's not like it's for real.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm looking at the WNBA, like the season average attendance as well, and we're right back in the same category as the NWSL. 10,000 people for the Seattle Storm, Mercury 10,000. Like, we are, and obviously, poor Indiana Fever, but I will say this: Indiana Fever has the least amount of attendance because of the last, I'd say, quote unquote, 7 years, right? Yeah. But now look at the people they're recruiting, or they're drafting. Like, Indiana Fever is going to go from bottom of the barrel to the top, in my opinion, because I think that they're just like, they're going to be unreal, and they've got really good personalities.
Yeah, that they do. They have marketable people for sure.
So it's like, and I'm not even going to lie, I don't know how we got on this topic.
I don't either,
but we are going full tilty at it because I think, and I'm a podcast person. Obviously, I listen to podcasts all the time. And there was a podcast recently, and it really just hit a nerve because we obviously do this and we're very engaged. And this person was talking, and I respect what they were saying because it's a business podcast, but they kept on saying, like, nobody watches women's sports. That's why they don't make enough, like the same amount of money. And then Kelsey Plum went on and said, I don't want to make the same amount of money as LeBron James, but I just want to equally. And I think that it's just such a big conversation because even when we are supporting, no one's talking about it. Like, they say no one supports women's sports. That's why they don't make money. It's like, well, LA in NWSL is bringing in on an average 19,000 fans at the end of that last year. It's like people are supporting, people are being a part of it, people are doing it. And when is that conversation going to start becoming the threshold of, or the trickle effect? Like, when is that switch going to happen?
And and one of the things I believe is that we need to, right now, our barometer is actual in-person attendance.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you know how, like, let's put it in context how big the world is.
Yeah.
19,000 fans is a literal drop in the bucket. But we don't afford anyone else other than someone who can go to a game live in person the opportunity to freaking watch it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
And so when people say no one watches women's sports, it's because they have if you don't know that stat, you don't see it. No one talks about it. It's not on mainstream TV. You have to seek it.
Yeah.
And if you're not seeking it, where we shove news and sports in your face when it comes to men's sports all day, all the time, if you aren't seeking it, You are uninformed. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And so if we put it on TV and made it, and we started talking about 2.2 million people watching it, or 1 million people on a game basis, whatever that scale becomes of people that are watching these sports, then the mainstream conversation becomes, oh, hell yeah, people watch women's sports. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But right now, the only way you can watch it is if we fly somewhere. We got to drive to Kansas to watch a Kansas game.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, we got to go to Toronto or Montreal to watch a 6 game, because ESP, like all these barriers, it's just barrier.
Which our society and culture as of right now is like,
has no time for.
It's like,
if I can't get it in 2 clicks, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah, 2 clicks. And I think the average video watching time span of a human being is 6 seconds or something, 4 to 6 seconds. If it doesn't catch your interest within 4 to 6 seconds, they scroll. So it's like, not only are we battling that in the sense of retention, it's like we're just not getting it out there enough. And there are incredible places like, Just Women's Sports does an awesome job.
Oh, there's lots of people.
There's lots of people that are doing.
But you still have to seek that.
But you still have to do your due diligence in looking.
You want to watch that to find it.
Because the amount of people that if I were to sit and like, I think everybody knows that we're pretty big hockey people. If I were to sit there and talk about just how we talked about with Kendall Coyne-Schofield and put it in perspective of where she lines up against Connor McDavid, bang.
I know, but why don't no one does that? No one sat there and put their times. Like, it's just.
Yeah. And the thing is that like, because the one thing and like a little bit of a pet peeve of mine right now is this phase that I don't know if TikTok is going through or whatever, that's always comparing men against women. Like if there's like a reel and it's a woman that's a receiver in football and she shimmy shakes a guy and then actually catches the ball and runs past him. It's like, oh, well, she got him. It's like, why are we comparing against each other? Oh, this woman absolutely destroys male receiver. Why are we like genderizing?
It's societal norms that are all that we've all think.
It drives me absolutely insane.
Because the shock value is still so high that women can do things. There is still this society, and whether, and this is not a blanket sweeping statement, but there are a lot of corners of this world that think that we see it. Women can't back up a trailer. They can't build things. They should be in a kitchen or cleaning your house. Mm-hmm. There is still this ingrained women are soft. You think about it, your house, my house. We've had experiences where Ash and I are cutting wood when we're camping, and people come and say, "Do you need help?" Mm-hmm. No, I can actually do these things.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure why we're still so shocked that women can do so many, all of the same things that men can do, and so it's still this shock value, which. Because we haven't ever afforded people to see it on a regular basis, when it is a one-off for their viewing, the shock value is why it's there.
Yeah.
And so if we, on every occasion, when there was an example, we showed and said, look, she can do it, he can do it. She can do it, he can do it. She can do it, he can do it. And it doesn't need to be in sports.
Yeah, like just in anything.
It's like, why are people so shocked? I don't understand. It's like they think that women are like, I don't know.
And it was like the thing that irked me about this video was she was valuable because she beat a man. Yeah. Like she wouldn't have been valuable if it was against a woman.
God, can you see how? Yeah.
Oh my God, can you believe she just destroyed? Yeah. And it's like, yeah. And there's probably a woman defender out there that would have got her.
Yeah. I know.
And it's like, that's the conversation that our young girls feel, our young girls. Like, you know what I mean? But that's how like I feel this conversation needs to happen with all young girls is like, it's not a verse. It is not men versus women. Yep. We are in this together. Yeah. We are a unit together. There is men competing in men's sports and women competing in women's sports, and we are equal. And where we are off right now is how we value each one. Because if a woman beats a man, she's exceptional. But if a woman beats a woman,
Well, of course they did.
easy. It's a woman.
They're competing again. Yeah, I know. It's so flawed. It is.
We need to stop those videos, and we need to just start embracing high performance athletics for women. And we just need to start valuing, because a lot of the guys that I know growing up right now are genuinely interested in women's sports. They just don't know where to find it. And obviously they're guys. They want to watch guy stuff.
Well,
but it's like,
yeah.
I just, the verse thing for me has got to go. Like, it's not men versus women, because women are doing something. Like, there was one where a soccer, you know, when they're doing that soccer kicky thing, when they're in like a common area and they kick the ball through the legs of somebody else when they're walking. Yeah. So a woman, a soccer player did that, but she did a fancy drill beforehand, like a whatever. She kicked it behind her and then went through her legs or whatever. And it was a guy, and everybody lost it because it was a guy. I'm like, he was just walking. And it would be what, devalued if it was a woman? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've been very ranty today, and I apologize for that. But in the same token, it does sometimes get, like, it is hard to, we're positive about it. Don't get us wrong.
Oh, yeah. As ranty as it sounds, like, and we've said this before, the growth, it's undeniable. There is, as much as I say you can't find it, there is more of it out there than there ever has been before. But it does get a little exhausting when time and time again people are shocked by the fact that a woman can do a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, and I think the personal piece of it is that's how people viewed us.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
still doing some
and it's like time for people like us, and we know there's a lot of other women that are like,
yeah,
let's stop it. Let's move on. Let's move on, because the athleticism that we're seeing from women right now is through the roof.
Yeah.
It is so good. It's through the roof.
Oh, it's so good.
And people are supporting women's sports.
Yeah.
Hands down. They are. And we need to just stop that. Stop that conversation that they're not, because they are. We just need more of it.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need to get any more ranty. I feel like I'm like in a...
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, is this not the episode before Christmas?
It is.
Yeah. I'm so excited for Christmas.
Yeah. Especially with the little guy in the house. That'll be fun.
Santa's a celeb in our place.
No doubt.
He's unreal.
He's a pretty cool dude.
I love that guy. So if you just listened to us for the last hour, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was a great conversation, because it needs to happen. We need to have that conversation more. We need to talk about it more. And I think there was just a lot of personal things that spurred that conversation that's happened recently. Yeah. And I think it's time that we just start
calling it out,
handling it. Bang, 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 bang.
Agreed.
So Cowie, final words.
If this is the last thing that Beauties puts in your ears before the holiday season, we're sorry it was a little ranty. But we hope that you have whatever you celebrate. We hope you have a wonderful time in doing that with those people around you that you love. Thank you for being here. As always, the best way to share this podcast is by leaving a rating, 5 stars only, a rating and review on the pod, wherever you find that, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whichever app. Make sure to head on over to Instagram. Find us at Beauty Sports Talk. You can find Addie at Addie Miles Abbott. You can find me at Cowie14. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you after the holidays, folks.
Cheers. See you next week.